Again, I was eager. Greek. The first thing I noticed on campus was that everyone in my class had been around. Everyone spoke at least 3 languages, one of the school's requirements, while via was the way to answer the "where are you from" question. Italians came via the States and South America. Brits came from Cambridge via McKinsey. People rarely asked where you grew up. It was where you'd worked and studied that mattered. From Greece via Silicon Valley, I'd say. A 45-minute drive from Paris, the EBS campus was in the center of the Fontainebleau forest next to a 15th-century palace. Most of the students lived in nearby chateaux maintained barely by once wealthy, now-in-decline counts who lived in the garden houses on their properties and collected rent from us who stayed in their crumbling grand courts. I traded my 1-bedroom apartment in a cookie-cutter San Mateo complex for the Château du Montmillon, a disintegrating 400-year-old mansion with Munchausen-esque roofs with gables and chimneys, all of it piled on 30 acres of thickly wooded land, hiding abandoned nurseries, tennis courts, statues, and peacocks. Once unpacked, I realized I had stepped into an Italian movie set, a stage for diversions, not in the least conducive to homework, while my class smelled of testosterone. "Management consulting is ridiculously overrated," said my classmate Paul, the balding son of a European prime minister, at a recruiting event that fall. He handed me a brochure for a consulting firm called Command. I browsed the glossy leaflet. "You don't care for value innovation? You don't want to be a game changer?" I smiled, mocking the brochure, but Paul was distracted. "Value my ass," he mumbled. "Want to change the game? Go into private equity." "Yeah, I skipped school the day they handed out job offers," I joked, but Paul was gazing around. He had brokered a 4th-hand Renault for me that had belonged to a friend of his, a recent graduate, and I was getting uncomfortable about driving a car I still had not paid for. Paul was always too busy to pass me the money-wiring instructions. "Yes, next week, promise, I promise," Paul said when I mentioned something about writing him a check. He finally looked back at me. "This week is insanely busy. My mother is visiting, which reminds me." He paused and gave me a head-to-shoes look. "Stathis, you are Greek, fine, but this is a recruiting event, and you are wearing brown shoes." I gave my Filene's basement loafers a quick look. I used to wear sneakers to work on Fridays. Right," I mumbled. "In London you can get fired for that." "That'd first require having a job," I whispered, wondering what exactly it would take for me to make a go of it here. Studying? Shopping? Sucking up to schoolmates' parents? Paul placed his fist against my torso. "Just tell them your GPA, mate." I laughed. "Gotta split. I need to pack. Alkis and I are moving tomorrow." "Excuse me?" Montmillon got flooded. "You are joking." Paul's mouth stayed open. "The Comte has totally dropped the ball. Really? Okay, let's have a moving party." "Paul." "A moving lunch. Beer and takeout, simple. I'll bring the gang." Paul was excited. My loss was his excuse to get wasted. "Great," I said flatly. He gave me an apologetic look as if to say, "This is a small price to pay to be one of us, Greek boy." The next day I moved with Alkis, my London Greek, via Harvard, president of the student body, chateau mate, from Montmillon's main court to a freezing shed at the edge of the property. The entire shack was a 30 by 30 box, split into 3 murky bedrooms and a mice-infested kitchen. A crowd showed up, indeed, which turned the hut's extra bedroom into a falafel and cigarette-smelling living room. Slouched on a bed, Paul held court, describing our costumes for that evening's party. Halfway through Alkis's outfit, he paused and picked up my hummus-crusted valuation book, slowly, using only 2 fingers. "You might want to split these pages up before you get finger frostbite in this cabin," Paul said, and threw my finance book.